This convoluted mess put together somehow makes a semi-decent podcast. Enjoy. Welcome once again to another episode of this version of reality. It's Liam All-Star here, and the following was recorded as another rambling and working edition of the podcast. It's a little shorter, but it's still plenty of rambling, and it's quite comical and funny, so I thought I'd keep it, dump it, produce it, and yes, here it is. Enjoy.
Well, as we all know, the overweight obesity epidemic is always on the rise, and I mean, one of the things you can attribute to that most certainly is because, well, there's always a fast food outlet right nearby. I mean, you go outside to eat, what's the first thing you see? Within every 5 kilometers of wherever the hell you go, there's a fast food outlet right there. And they do that because, well, obviously, it's good business, isn't it? It's there. It's convenient. Fast food. They serve it to you quickly. You get it quickly. You eat it quickly. And then you get overweight pretty quickly. Well, sure, I mean, the marketing is something quite interesting, and how they have basically one every 5 kilometers within each other. There are some places where it's like, you know, at shopping centers, or, you know, like Maya Center in the city, or even a few other places, Garden City, and they actually have more than one of the same fast food outlet at that shopping center, because it's like, well, you know, if they enter through that way, in that entrance, and they got to walk all the way over there, and if they've been eating our food for quite some time, then walking's going to be an audacious, repetitive, tedious task. You know, why don't we put one over this side and kind of see how that goes? Yeah. No, it doesn't stop there, does it? So it's like, well, I mean, what if we put one at this entrance, and we put one at this entrance, and we put one right in the middle, right here. And pretty much everyone's covered, you know. There's food for everyone, and if they like variety, well, too bad, because we're here and we know that everyone wants us. And one thing that could kill the epidemic completely, and something that they could do to help contribute to the decline in said obesity. I mean, what's the one thing that obese people don't like doing? A lot of traveling. They don't want to go far. They don't want to go long distances. How about we put some of these fast food outlets further away? I mean, let's change the radius. Let's put it in to some sort of a statute, in some sort of a constitutional, you know, some sort of council guideline where it says that there cannot be another fast food outlet within a certain amount of kilometers. There certainly can't be a same fast food outlet within the same amount of kilometers as that same store. I mean, think about it. You put it further away. What do you mean? What's the first thing you think when you're driving around? It's like, yeah, like, well, you know, there's that other place down a few okay down the road that way. It's a little healthier. You got that Subway. It's all the way over there. Oh, there's a McDonald's right here. I just drive in and get some McDonald's. It's right there. Just go in. I'm hungry now. I want food. And that's how everyone thinks. And there's another way which we can help to get rid of obesity, and I think that one of the best ways you could do that is get rid of the drive-through. And I mean, when I say get rid of the drive-through, I mean keep the drive-through, but exclude cars. Say, you're going through a drive-through, you've got your car there, you're lugging it up, you're basically piling up that car of yours with, all the biggest deals and meals. It's like, you're looking at the menu. Well, if I pay an extra $1, I can get the large. And that technically means that I'm saving money, But then if I get this meal deal, it comes with this extra. Oh, look at that. Save 20%? Eesh. I'm basically screwing them over. I better take this deal. You're almost laughing when you get to the first one. It's like, yeah, I'm getting this meal deal right here. I'm taking one back. I'm going to rip you guys off of me. Yeah, I'm paying you guys for the same thing and giving you guys money all the same while for a little bit of mince and a bit of potato and some post-mix drink and a lot of salt and a lot of oil. But hell, I'm going to save 20%. Hey, I'm getting a good deal. Look at me. You stack your car up with food. It's like you're opening up the boot, you're putting it in there, and then you're driving off. You got like a car full of food. It's like, well, if you get rid of the cars in the drive-thru, and you have a walk-through instead. I mean, think about the difference that's going to make at the end of the day. You're walking through, you're thinking, well, I'll get the large, I'll get this big meal deal, but hang on a second. I carry all that, don't I? You can't just put it next to you. It's like when you're going grocery shopping, they provide you a trolley. It's the one thing they'd have to avoid doing, is providing a trolley service, but I know they'd be advocating for something like that if they had a walkthrough. I mean, if you had a walkthrough, you'd be ordering less. Because you got to carry all that with you through the walkthrough, don't you? You got to go back to your car and then drive off, and then you got to try and scramble for your keys. God damn! Try not to spill your drink, and you're trying not to drop your food, and you're looking like a complete moron, juggling 3 things at once. Just kind of your food bag in your mouth and the drink in the hand. I think it would make a big difference, and I know this for a fact that people don't like walking very much when they have to order food, and they don't like to carry lots of food. They want that food to be easily accessible. The more food there is, the more trips you got to make, and if you got to make more trips, that means more calories burned. The more calories burned, well, then you can afford to eat that food because you just did half a workout stacking that crap in your car. There's drive-through when you don't have someone to hold things. I mean, that's pretty much the only reason why you have passengers in the car when you're going through a drive-through or going down the road. It's like, oh yeah, going down the road to get some McDonald's. I'm going down the road to get some KFC. Hey, I'll come with you. Great. It's great. Yeah, sure, come with me. Yeah, why not? Because then they can hold all the food and all the drinks, and like, yeah, you go, yeah, take it, hold it there. Because unless you're eating on the way, you know that you're pretty much putting, especially if you're ordering for yourself, if you're ordering for another person, the drink's always the bitch. It's always the hard end of the bargain. It's the deal breaker. It's the deal. It's basically, you drive through that drive-thru. You order your meal. They give you a bag full of food which is contained within itself. It spills out, the chips in the bag. That's okay because it's still in a bag. You spill your drink, it's all over. Quite literally, it is all over the seat, all over you. It's all over. That drink spills. You got no hope in hell of ever replacing it. You can't go back there and say, well, I spilled it. Can I have some more? No, you want some more? No, you cannot have some more. You have to pay for more. This post-mix isn't cheap. It's 5 cents per liter. You can't have more. So you pretty much, they find new ways. They have got cup holders in cars, but they don't always fit. There's some of these cup holders, depending on what kind of car, what kind of cup holder, they don't always hold it. Sometimes, you order the large. Here's a fact, order the large. It weighs that cup holder down. Sometimes that cup holder breaks. Bam! Drink breaks everywhere. Because it's just a little bit of cardboard and a thin piece of plastic, and a tiny straw gimmick so you can drink out of it. And you get it all over your car, that's it. You're never going to get rid of it. Yeah, your car's never going to be clean again. You get just a little tiny drop on something, it's going to be sticky for the rest of your car's life, and you've got to try to clean it, but hey, God, clean a car. It's like ordering food from down the road, further down from there. It's the same thing. It's, stuff it, I'll just not clean it. I don't want to clean it. I don't want to go down the road for it. I'll just go to the drive-thru. I spilled my drink. It'll clean itself. I'll clean it later. You see, you hold your drink one way that people normally do is they hold their drink in between their legs. And normally that does work. Unless you've got more than one drink. You're ordering for more people and no one's come with you on the trip. Has everyone ever done the sort of hand on the top as you're going around the corner so you don't spill all the drinks everywhere? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You're turning that corner with one hand. You're sort of just sitting there and just trying to pull the wheel that way with one hand. It's like you're sort of driving with some sort of epileptic, mental retardation as you're steering the wheel. It's like, it's literally the sound you make when you go around the corner a little too fast, but you know that you've got to make that corner. You've got to turn it with one wheel. You've got to hold the drinks in the other hand. It's like, that's literally the sound everyone makes when they're steering with one steering wheel and one hand on the drinks. Just, God. And there'd be you turn in that tight corner. U-turns, that's even better because then you've got to make a 3-point turn just to get around the corner. And you've got the drinks on the other side. Liquid is, it's liquid. It's just going to go where it wants to go. So you're holding it down with 20 pounds of force and you're steering the wheel. It's like you're driving a boat and there's a big tidal wave coming quite literally while you're holding those drinks down like, can I get you? Come on. Turn. And then you make it. And you realize that the drink spills anyway because that can't be contained in those stupid little gimmick cups. I mean, come on. After all this time, they can't reinvent those goddamn cups. They can't do anything about it. It's a little piece of cardboard and a thin piece of plastic and a little stupid straw in the middle. You mean we can't improve on that? We can't make that better. We can't improve. We got the medical science is doing wonders for the humans. We're getting closer to marvelous breakthroughs, and yet once again, the human race just can't seem to get past these little fallacies, such as the easy-to-spill drink cups. And that's the whole thing as well. Because you've gone in the trouble of getting the drinks. You've turned that corner. You've gone and driven. It's like you've been driving on a ravenous sea. And you get there, your destination. You get back home. You get to where you need to go. And then you drop one of those drinks and it just explodes like a grenade. Just comes down. Just... The reaction is... like you're witnessing a travesty, like it is the worst thing that has ever happened, because that thing comes down. It's tragic. Because then, what are you going to drink? Water. You're going to drink water out of the tap. You mean to say that now you've got to drink water? That's the first thing that runs through your mind once that thing drops. Not necessarily, oh no, I've got to clean this up. Oh no, it's everywhere. The first thing that runs through everyone's mind is, damn it, now I got to drink water. I hate water. I don't want Coke. I don't want to drink water. So I had to buy myself a new charger for my phone because the old charger had broken. It's quite interesting looking for a charger, trying to find one that's the right price, but also trying to find the one that's literally the right fit. I mean, there are so many different types of chargers these days. All these phone companies have got these different ports and different everything. Well, what happened to, just having one size fits all? I mean, come on, it's like a different
GPS
animals.
Signal lost.
It's like there's all these different species, all these different shapes, sizes. I mean, if technology, if we were like the phones and us as guys had our different charger ports and the ladies had their different input ports for the phones, USB ports, micro USB, USB, iPhones, like that. So you go up to a lady, hey, how's it going? Yeah, really enjoy your company, and I think we should take things a little further. Oh, we can't. It can never happen. Well, why is that? Well, you're too big. What do you mean? I can only take micro USB. But seriously, I was getting a USB charger, and get it for my phone. So I got the charger, I got it, put it in my car, and it's all working. Everything's charging. It's got like supercharge. It's like rapid charge apparently. If you put it in cold water or something, you wet yourself, you electrocute yourself, it'll fry you within 3 seconds. That's kind of charge that it's got. It's got a couple of amps that goes through it. I don't know what it means. All I know is that it charges and it works, and that's good enough for me. Problem that I had with it though is that it's got this protective seal. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the protective seal, but it's basically there to, I don't know, keep it fresh so that it doesn't expire. What? So people can't steal it? What's going on? Seriously? Does everyone have this assumption that that everyone is a thief, that we're all going to steal everything that goes into that place? I mean, it's bad enough they got all the barcodes, they've got all the cameras and everything, and the tags in stores. It's like, well, hang on a second. Now I know these are they're good deterrents, aren't they? All the cameras and tags and all that. People still steal them. The people who are stealing them are still getting away with it because they know what they're doing. They do the exact same thing they're doing anyway. They're still able to steal these products. It's not working, guys. Oh, the tie-dyes in the shirt, you take it out of the store, it blurs it over. It's like, oh, well, guess I'll have to dye that white shirt blue now. Jeez, I have to go back and get another one, try it again tomorrow. There's protective seals on, especially around things surrounding technology. They're bloody good, aren't they? I mean, you cannot get them off. It's designed so that when you buy it, you have to go to an IT specialist or someone who has the qualifications necessary, who's gone to university and studied how exactly do you get this little thing off. And it's not easy, is it? And even when you get it off, there's other seals everywhere, there's little invisible seals. It's just not going to happen straight away. It just kind of gets you thinking, though, what if they had those protective seals in other facets of life? Let's say you've got a radiator leak in your car. Oh, bloody hell. I've still got it, you're on the highway, you're about 20 k's from home and you've got to get home, but it's damn leaking everywhere. Just put that protective seal over it, it'll never leak again. You'll be good to drive it home. It's all good. Problem solved. If you're on a ship or a submarine and springs a leak, Captain, we got a leak! We got a situation down here! We got a leak! Well, we gotta get the protective tape. Oh, the protective tape, aye, Captain! They put it on. I don't know how long she's gonna hold, Captain! That's right, every engineer has to be Scottish. That's the rule. Set in the 60s, that's, Hell, imagine if contraceptive products had that protective seal. There would be no unwanted pregnancies, would there? Imagine if, that the male condoms were made out of that protective seal. It would never break. You'd never have a problem. Screw all that latex stretching material. I mean, come on, protective seal. You wrap that around, it's like, yep, I'm good. Just put that little tiny strip around, just kind of stick it on. It's like, you're right, hands, are you sure this is going to work? So trust me, it's a protective seal. Probably never going to be able to get this thing off. But if you can, maybe we got a future. Just make sure that we got the same port. Your bomb squads, wrap themselves, army people, wrap themselves around in that protective seal. It'd be good, wouldn't it? I mean, they get to the bomb, it's like, yep. Person in distress is wrapped in the bombs, freaking out for our lives. Oh my God, you've got to help me. Like, calm down. I know what I'm doing. I'm with the bomb squads. I've got this protective seal on. Gonna be okay.
It's time for yet another Facebook feed. Whatever comes through my Facebook feed that interests me, that piques my attention. And, well, this is definitely something. I mean, some of it's old, some of it's new, but a warning for some of the most commonly prescribed drugs in Australia. I mean, I guess this one will be relevant no matter how old it is, because as some drugs used to treat heartburn, ulcers, and reflux have been linked to premature death. And everything right just to... It's morbid that I'm laughing at this. It's like, I just imagine that whole thing where it's like, you go to the doctor and it's like, doctor, I got a bad case of a heartburn. Well, yeah, I can give you this drug that might kill you, or you can just put up with the heartburn. Yeah, because there are some people that just cannot handle heartburn. It's like, oh my God, I get really bad indigestion and heartburn after I eat. Oh, I've got to have that medication. It's like, yeah, good for you. You want to die? No? Well, then put up. Oh my goodness. So talk about something that's just I don't know. Is someone actually trying to kill all the people with heartburn and, reflux ulcers, all that thing? Just people with bad indigestion, digestion or whatever? That definitely sounds like something that Mark Shkreli perhaps would do. If anyone doesn't know who that is. Oh man. But that's just wild right there. I mean, did they... it's just, I'm sorry. It's like, I shouldn't even be laughing. It's technically like, that's a dark matter, because it's serious. Like, it's drugs that lead to premature death. They can kill you. That's not good. Especially for something like indigestion. It's like, just pop a pill and then, just, bloody hell. But heck, pardon me. Oh crap, maybe I'm getting some indigestion right now. I need drugs. Drugs that won't kill me. Hey. My goodness, what an actual mighty fine coincidence that... Oh, the next thing that I saved in my Facebook feed. Speaking of Martin Shkreli, he's been convicted in security frauds case. Now those, like I say, I guess I better explain it now, who Mark Shkreli is. Essentially who this guy is. He's a guy who bought bought a pharmaceutical company, and he raised the drug prices from, I believe it says here, $13.50 to $750 for life-saving medication. He'd been held in court, hearings, and people have been pleading, saying that, why would you do that? Why would you raise the price of drugs, it could be life-saving? And just a smug, arrogant personality. Perhaps this is something that I should really be doing a podcast for, but I think everyone's covered that. But you know what? I think I might save him as well for a separate podcast. But in the meanwhile, because he's appeared in the Facebook feed right now and being dubbed the most hated CEO in America, is convicted of a long drawn-out federal fraud case where he was found guilty on 3 of 8 counts: securities fraud, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and it's all just from him being the head of, like I said, the pharmaceutical drug company, which happens to be Retrofin, and he manages the funds as well in that company. He was found not guilty on other accounts, but he was arrested in 2015 after being accused of losing millions of dollars in investor funds and then trying to pay them back with stock in a new drug startup. So it's effectively what people do in the business world. It's a little trick of the trade, and something that's completely falls through the cracks and is legal only because it's not illegal. It's not entirely legal, but because it's not illegal, because there's nothing exactly saying, well, you can't do that, then people get away with it. Like, say, if I'm a dodgy businessman, and I was once next to a place who did exactly this, where they ran a business, it went into the ground, they owed money left, right, and center, so all they did was effectively just declare bankruptcy with the business. And because it's a business, and the business isn't an individual person, especially if it happens to be a proprietary limited, look that up as well, because that indemnifies a lot of people. So basically, business goes under, they just start up a new business at the exact same place, location, everything, under a new business name. Whereas the other business is bankrupt, so, they can't be held to contempt for any financial woes, any owes, anything. But anyway, but he is the guy, essentially, Martin Shkreli, who hiked up the price of the drug. It was an AIDS drug, and the name of it was Daraprim, and by statistics that I'm reading here, a 5,000% hike up, up to $750, and you know what? Karma has just come around to kick him in the ass, because this is a guy who was, maybe I should just get this out of the way right now. He doesn't deserve an entire podcast discussing him. I'm going to discuss this prick right now. Anyone who has the opportunity to save lives and instead chooses the opposite, to instead profit from the suffering of others immensely. But that's the biggest problem in the world right now, and it is that you can do that. It is not illegal to hike up the price of a drug that would save people's lives. In fact, these are the rules that have been set before him, and that's why, because he's a smug, arrogant individual. Just watch a video of him being, having to appear before, court, basically being had to present before Congress, is subpoenaed to appear, and basically the entire time he was asked questions. Congress were basically trying to, plead with him and ask him different questions, basically trying to get him to answer for himself. And he continually, with a smug smirk on his face and this smug sense of superiority, continuously stated, "I refuse to answer any questions," except he confirmed his name. That's pretty much the only thing that he confirmed. He probably wouldn't have even acknowledged that he was actually there at that time, and he's the kind of person, then afterwards he gets into fights with people on social media because people blast him and say, from the person that says, "Hey, you could be saving lives, why are you doing this?" And he will literally troll people and go on social media. This is a CEO, a millionaire, billionaire, who's going on social media to cause trouble. I mean, who does he think he is? Trump? Although he came in before Trump, so I guess Trump was probably inspired by him just a little. Or maybe they just, I don't know if they know each other or not, but who cares? Fact of the matter is that this guy would not do anything to help anyone, and it's just a case where he just basically sat there in his smug sense of superiority. And like I said before, I can see things from his point of view. Once you remove emotion and circumstance, of course he's going to be smug, because like I said, these are the rules that have been set. It's not illegal what he did. That's the unfortunate thing. It is incredibly immoral. It is inhumane and perhaps even genocidal to a degree. But how many times in history have different organizations, different corporations raised the price of something, inflated it to such a degree so they could make immense profit? He's just following the rules that are set before him in society, and now, because there are some people that don't like that, perhaps within his own sorority and, up on his pay bracket, up on his so-called level. And this is a guy who's obviously, he's come into this luck. He's struck dumb luck. He's bought the pharmaceutical, and he has just aimed to make money from it, just to absolutely rot the system, which I guess, unfortunately, not something that is illegal. And I don't think that it would ever be something that anyone around the world would have the guts to put something in to make that, that moral high ground that we're supposed to have when it comes to issues like this, that can put people like him in his place. They don't have the guts to do anything about it, because then that would mean they would also have to be accountable for a lot of the things that they have done and continue to do, especially when it pertains to inflation, when it pertains to, all this profit. Because, one of the biggest examples for, oil companies, So while Martin Shkreli is guilty, of, this moral imposition and everything, unfortunately, the guidelines of society has set says that, for what he did with inflating the drug price, it wasn't illegal and he can't be held guilty of that. But the ego on this guy has obviously led him to get his ass chewed out, because he has done a lot of bad things to try and keep his money under wraps, and just claiming that it's a witch hunt, that everyone's out to get him. But I mean, come on, he's been committing fraud, dumping money into corporations, basically into markets and corporations that end up going under, selling stock, and basically then he sells, and then that it goes under, the organization. But yeah, basically just have a look up of it, just look him up, and he I guess karma has come to collect, and he could be facing up to 20 years in prison for his 3 convictions, or so it is alleged. That is, if he's not able to buy his way out. And that would suck if he did, because he's ruined a lot of people's lives. He's lived a life of fraud and, conspiracy to commit fraud, and, just basically done all these things to gain financially, and that's it, It's all monetary. There's nothing else that he cares about. And if you just even take one look at him, it's all he cares about. He has no empathy whatsoever. It's like he's devoid of all emotion, all care for anyone else. And it's not like this guy has had a bad life either, because he has had this opportunity come to him, and that's one hell of an opportunity that anyone, if they were able to make a difference and to be in that position where they could be the best that they could be and make people better than they are now, and to heal, to help people, but instead profit from it, to take away from it. This guy is one of the worst human beings that I could imagine, and I say that this guy joins what I would like to call my cavalcade of fury. And if you don't know what that is, well, Martin Shkreli, you're on it. And you set the bar right now for my cavalcade of fury. Well, don't drop that gold bar of soap. Oh, goody. And speaking of some unfair monetization, there in the Facebook feed is showing me right now a picture of money seized from a beggar. So this has been posted through social media, where basically, it's debating, do we help those who beg for money, or is that enabling their behavior to continue begging? But in the Cheyenne, or Cheyenne, however you say it, just look it up. If you, Cheyenne, so Cheyenne, I guess that's how it's pronounced, Cheyenne Police Department posted a picture on their social media of the money they collected from a local beggar. So not only did they confiscate the money and arrest the beggar, for, panhandling, they took the money, posted it on social media, and I guess just sort of like an advertising ploy, like just to add insult to injury. It's like a drug bust, because they always post how much they seized from, the drug lords, the drug cartels, whoever they happen to get it from, the gangs, or, and this is just ridiculous, because it's claimed that he was just begging for money to support his ailing mum, and it's said that he drove 30 miles from his home to beg for money after being run out of his own town. That's kind of sad. There is no information on why he was run out of his town, but authorities posted a picture of the $234.94 that they collected off the, quote, transient. So the post read, This is back in July 22nd, so it's an old one, but still, like I said, Facebook feed, things go through all the time. It piqued my interest, so I'm including it in the podcast, because it's an interesting discussion. Yesterday, July 22, we arrested a transient for public intoxication. This is a person we frequently deal with, but we want to illustrate that there are better ways to help the transient population than to give them money for panhandling. That is absolutely correct. Like, for example, instead of arresting and confiscating the money from him, you could perhaps see if you can do something to actually help him, instead of taking money, posting it on social media, and making a big spectacle about how much this guy is a criminal just for being in a desperate spot of having to actually panhandle. You want to talk about revenue raising, you want to talk about, give the cops a break, well then, this right here, this is one example where I say, make the difference, be the difference. Instead of taking that money from him, and a lot of people say the same, instead of taking that money from him, it's just, why would they do that? And where would that money go? Would they give it back to him? It's a bit of a touchy area, because you say, well, yeah, of course you could be enabling a drug habit, an alcohol issue, but there are ways in which you can assist a person. And people argued that they gave the money in good faith to assist this person in the way that they chose to help him. Now, maybe this guy, panhandling, did not force people to give it to him. People just voluntarily, because I have, seen people on the street who have been, they're transients, or rather homeless, and they are in a position where they need assistance. So you do what you can to assist them. And some people do that in the form of monetization, by giving them money. That kind of begs a question, because a lot of, online panhandling now happens in the form of, Kickstarters and, Patreons, you call it. Basically, these organizations online where you can give money to people to assist them. Is that a form of panhandling? Should we confiscate money from them if we find that they're actually transients with a Wi-Fi connection? Think about that. It's like, what really was so wrong in this situation? Was he harassing anyone? Was he bringing a place into disrepute? Was he doing anything truly that, was illegal? Was he being violent? Was he being aggressive? Was he being abusive? No? Is he a registered sex offender? Is he a criminal? Is he, someone who you have been looking for on the world's wanted list? Is he some form of terrorist? Is he causing an issue to you personally that would cause your life to be changed immensely or irreversibly from being in contact with the person that you're currently dealing with? And the answer is obviously no. That is a better way that they could have done with, dealt with this situation, because at the end of the day, the police are the authority, but they are also corrective, and they need to use their powers more wisely, I truly believe. Instead of punishing people all the time, they have the option to help people, and I don't see that enough these days. And I know cops, I have friends who are police officers. I even have family who are police officers. I'm not going to say that everyone I know who is a cop is a good person, but I'm not going to say that everyone who I know who is a police officer isn't either. I have known good cops and bad cops, and the fact is they know who they are, and I don't owe them an explanation for anything I say, because if they are truly good cops, then they won't take anything that I say personally, and they'll agree with me and say, well, yeah, absolutely, these kind of actions that are caused kind of brings us into disrepute ourselves as, authorities of society, to be the people that are supposed to, maintain the peace and order and everything else. But instead to just do something like take money from a panhandler and make an example out of him, where there are times where certain people, are in a it's just being taken advantage of in certain situations. A lot of the things that are going on with police right now, it's definitely not a good image that they want to set for themselves, especially if they're trying to say that they are on our side instead of on their own side. And like I said, because the police that I know who are good cops, if they, I would open the discourse, I would open the discussion with them and have them on the podcast as well anytime, and say if they have anything to add to the conversation or anything they dispute. But right now, things just aren't as good as they should be. And, there is blame on both sides, society and the authorities that are supposed to maintain order within society. But unfortunately, it kind of leans more to the authorities being more at fault, because they are the ones that are supposed to set the good example for everyone else to live by. And when they don't do that, or when they do things that seemingly, portray a bad image and do things like that seem only to benefit themselves and not other people, that's when you get the poor image. That's when you get people that say, they're not looking out for us. And in this instance, I truly don't believe that they were looking out for him at all, because they could have done anything else to assist him, and especially taking that money off of him and arresting him and whatever else. That's not assisting him, and that's not going to help him get off the street. There are better ways to do things. Police aren't just supposed to be there to punish people. They're supposed to be there to look out and advocate for the people who can't fend for themselves, who can't defend themselves. They're supposed to be the ones that lend that helping hand and are there to protect us. That's what they're supposed to be at the end of the day, I truly believe, are protectors of society. Here's one more for the road for the Facebook feed. A conservative political advocate. I can't even say it. Let me start over. I'm not editing this. I'm just keeping it raw. A conservative political activist recently made a shocking discovery. Someone just slashed my tire. I'm honestly speechless. 1 week after someone doxed me. And she posted the photos on social media, and, if you go looking at these photos on social media and you go looking through, and you'll find it, fake slashed tire tweet. You type that in to a search engine, it'll pop up straight away, and these tires, Jesus Christ, they are cracked, they are falling apart. Some of the mesh from the, basically the tire fabric itself, like the whole tire itself looks like it is beyond any condition that a car's tire should be in. The fact that it was driven for that long, it seems like either that the tires were flat and just continued to drive them, just in bad, poor condition, or just, wear and tear, left for too long, no maintenance, no observation of the car's working condition, and it's been managed to be overlooked by authorities, mechanics, and everyone else for so long. I mean, that's if the car's even been driven. Perhaps it's because it was being left out in the sun for too long. But hey, that's just my opinion looking at the pictures. But one Twitter user basically took a look a little closer and pointed out that, see the mark there? Is where the wheel hit a curb, pothole. There is zero puncture. That's an impact blowout. The tire is old. And then another one, given the green valve cap, you purchased a tire at Costco. So obviously a cheap tire, perhaps even a retread. Given the wheel, you also drove an older model Jeep Grand Cherokee. So this guy's kind of going right in. That is the date the tire was made, and it's looking at the little stamp on the tire, which you can actually find, and it says there, it looks like the 7th week of 2011. So as of this podcast, about a 6-year-old tire. So Jesus Christ, multiple marks in that particular pattern is caused by driving on the wheel with zero air in it. So like I said before, it's obvious, because tires don't break down that easily unless there is no air in it whatsoever and you just keep driving on it. and the shiny part of the rim indicates the vehicle was in motion when the impact happened. Metal gets a rash in motion, and my final thought is this tyre was slashed by something in the road at about 15 to 25 miles an hour. So Michelin even stepped in and said, "It's hard to say what could have happened here. It looks like the tyre is severely cracked. We'd recommend a tyre inspection." So this person by the name of Laura got a little cross and said, "If you won't stand with me, then I won't stand with you. I'm not going to defend people I disagree with when they won't defend me and my tyre." And from there, social media just did what social media does best and just flame on right in. People posting pictures and people saying, of desolate cars and saying, this is what happened to me, they'll stop at nothing. I was, basically just taking the piss out of it. And someone even created a GoFundMe page in loving memory of the unfortunate tyre. My goodness. It's amazing how all these stories tie into one another, Went from Martin, what was it before? What was the first one? It went from, drugs that could kill you to Martin Shkreli and the drugs that could save him, and him being, put in jail for fraud, or perhaps going to jail for fraud, and then going into, the whole, the drug story, the panhandling, the discussion I just had about the GoFundMe. I don't think I said GoFundMe. I think I just said, Kickstarter and Patreon, but GoFundMe, and then, hey, it's just sort of all gone fluidly until I just pointed that out. So, yeah. So, in other words, I guess that Facebook just, my Facebook feed just goes from one fluid thing to the other, or perhaps that's just my dumb luck in saving stories that kind of just bounce off one topic to the other and go straight into it. Hey, that's pretty good, don't you reckon? But I guess that's it for the Facebook feed, because, hey, I've taken up nearly half an hour talking about what news comes up in my Facebook. I mean, for crying out loud, I need to talk about some real stuff here instead of just talking about what goes through my Facebook, don't you reckon?
Well, that's probably about all the time that I'm going to afford for this working and rambling edition of this version of reality, which oddly enough followed the first one because I liked it so much, and I just had this random footage audio footage, whatever you call it. Is it called audio footage? I don't know. I'm rambling on again. I'm continuing the rambling after the rambling. Yeah, but basically I had it there and it was just sitting there, and I figured why not have a part 2 to that working and rambling. The first one, all true, mind you, all true stories. The second one, more off the cuff and just really just prattling along, but still, it's all just for good old fun. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I can't say I enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it. I was just talking and just rambling. I don't know if you can get enjoyment from rambling. Maybe just a release of insanity into the air, kind of like carbon emissions. Who knows? But like I always say, or like I said most of the time at least, thank you very much. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, my name is Liam. I will see you guys next time.